And extortion that they carry out. So how do you expect such a civil servant or civil service to function, in accordance with, your dreams as a leader? That's why we're proposing a living wage, so that we don't have to deal with all of those encumbrances of people being hungry and not being able to give their best. That is first. And of course, the rest of it is ensuring that the rules are respected, of punctuality, of capacity, of discipline. Because that's why they are called civil servants in the first place. It's because they are supposed to serve the public. But the civil servants we have in Nigeria today, they are not civil and they are not serving anybody. That's the truth. And they said to bring about a government that can ensure that there's some kind of civility is restored to that chaotic place that will not happen. On the issue of building hubs, there are a lot of ways that government can build hubs. You don't have to construct physical hubs. But one question you should ask yourself is, would Andela be doing better if Nigeria had electricity? Can you compete better? And if it does, who builds electricity? Most countries around the world, the government is in charge of those kind of infrastructure. And government can also give you land. Government can give you, interest-free loans. In the US, a lot of even the grants that we get as NGOs, they somehow come from government in a way, because when you're doing good, when you're a foundation, the government said, don't pay me taxes. So the taxes we are not paying enables you to give more grants to people. If government were to, charge taxes on every NGO foundation that is out there, then so many of this, foundation funding that we get will not come to us, because they will be diverted towards taxes. So that's how government functions. We understand how government should function. I don't think it will be necessary to build hubs, but government can give you land. Government can give you grants. There can be a technological, pot of money somewhere put aside by the Nigerian government to create innovation, to ginger the innovative sector. And the moment that happens, government is building, while individuals are operating within enabling environments that will make them very creative and innovative. And there's no country that can afford to overlook that. We had that same argument in some of our interviews with other candidates. And we've been able to make it very clear. We discovered that even candidates that introduced data collection did not know that data processing and analysis was necessary. But they brag about it and say, I'm the one who introduced how to collect data. But what do you do with the data? So government is the one that can collect data, but individuals like NGOs, like yours, can process data, can analyze data for public good. So what am I trying to say is that when there's good government in town, the partnership between that government and every other person that is doing good becomes of government bureaucracy as an impediment to progress and creativity. I hope I answered that question well enough.
Okay, is there another question? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
My question goes this.
To safeguard how certain documentation about revenue is transferred from person to person, so that not everybody has access to them if they are not up to that clearance level, and a lot of tech people at the back. We talked about the use of blockchain technology. It's not that it will solve all the problems, but it can help you with tracking revenue. The TSA that they have could have worked, but the moment Buhari came, because of the corrupt nature of the people that brought him in, they started exempting several agencies of God. So over 5 to 10 accounts are already exempted from the NNPC. The custom has its own exemption. I heard that MPA has its own exemption. So by the time they exempted all the big revenue agencies, TSA is empty. And then you have to think about Buhari as a person who has little upstairs, with due respect to the man, and then has no energy or the ability. A mediocre leader who don't understand how to even track or monitor or supervise his ministers, or who doesn't even have meetings with them, cannot understand how his country is operating. As you understand, there's also a medical dimension to it, known as dementia. So the man forgets almost everything that's going on around him. How do you expect such a person to fight corruption? So it's part of the reason why the argument is also about the soundness of head and body in this particular election, even though people are speaking in hushed tones about them. So the next, of course, is enforcement. There are a lot of laws that we can enforce, and that's where the issue of party membership comes in. The moment you start separating who can be touched with enforcement from those who can't, based on their party membership cards, then you have destroyed your anti-corruption fight. And that is why Buhari's own failed spectacularly. Each time even his own people are found, it takes forever to clamp down on them. Look at the time they found the grass cutter and when they are prosecuting. And the only reason why they are prosecuting Mr. Grass Cutter is because it's politically expedient. Otherwise, they are not interested. It's because of the Onohen, the CGN, scandal, that they decided that, okay, let's look for somebody on our side to show to the public that we are not biased, and they went and brought the grass cutter. There are bigger crimes, corruption-wise, going on in the Buhari regime, which we have covered, and they haven't touched, and they will never touch because it suits their own agenda. I was saying one day, I think we did a report about the lady at the MPA, what's her name? Adiza, Bala Usman's daughter. And she wrote that she wants to sue Sahara reporters. And then she got foreign lawyers to write Sahara reporters that they will sue us. And I said to myself, they said you are corrupt. You say you are not corrupt. Then you go and hire foreign lawyers to protect your reputation. Why are you going to pay the foreign lawyers? Is it not true corruption? There's no lawyer in America that would take less than $600 for you per hour. So the letter she wrote to me is already a $10,000 letter. Where did you get the money from, Adiza? Do you have a cocoa farm? Or are you growing? So this is how they don't understand that, this is how you get yourself caught up in the whole corruption. It's clear that she's using public money to harass a media company. And that shows also that you don't even believe in our own, court system. Otherwise, we wrote a story against you in Nigeria. Why go to America to look for a lawyer? Go to a judge here and sue so that we resolve it locally. But I'm just explaining to you how these corrupt systems work. The last thing is consequences. If corrupt people are not punished as they should, forget about fighting corruption. And they have been able to demonstrate that they are incapable. Our justice system is incapable of dealing with very powerful people. And you cannot, there was I think a senator was jailed, and he is also running for Senate, and he's also on the campaign council of President Buhari, that's Senator Dari. He's supposed to be in jail. There was a deputy governor in Adamawa, was a governor, who was sentenced to prison, and the prison service cannot find him in prison. We are still looking for him. How can you sentence somebody to prison and he's on vacation from prison? That's where, but if it is to jail somebody who stole a governor's phone, 17 years, the man will rot there. So these are the four basic areas where we will close our eyes and fight corruption with. But most importantly, leveraging on technology. The moment your money doesn't get in the pocket of a thief, your problem is less. When they get the money, it's difficult to retrieve. Even in America, the moment people steal a lot of money, what they call blue collar or white collar crimes, and it's very difficult to get because they will hire the most powerful lawyers, they will fight it. At the end of the day, take half, you take half, everybody goes to sleep. Make sure that thieves, there are policies in place that don't allow thieves to have access to, especially large sums of money. And if they do, make sure that you collect your thing back or you prevent them from moving them out before it's too late.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together. Possible to focus more on why we are here, which is making Nigeria's economy.
Have you looked at this, holistically enough to say what are the things that people need to know? When things begin to go wrong, how will they be able to understand it, and how will they be able to engage?
Thank you very much for that question. So one of the first things we did, even before coming up with manifestos and policies, was a conversation around how do we speak truth to power? Not just to the power that exists now, but to the power that will exist when, by the grace of God and by the will of the Nigerian people, the change, the true positive transformative change that we're looking for comes in. So we decided to do two things. The first one was to start with a movement. One of the problems we have in this country is there is no ideology. I've made this case before and I'll make it again. If I go to the US, if anybody goes to the US and you hear that somebody is a Democrat, without meeting that person, without knowing that person, I can tell you about 90% of what that person believes, anybody else. That's the truth. That's what we believe. That's what he told us to do. So the reality is, the movement continues. The movement is our ideological basis. And it is our movement that then became the basis for this manifesto. Now, the second thing that he requested for, that's here, is that if somebody doesn't make commitments, then you can't hold them accountable. We've told you how many jobs we intend to create. If Sowore fails to create 5 million jobs in 4 years, many of us will not vote for him again. So he has made what he wants to do public. He has told us that he wants to put in 17,000 megawatts of power. We can hold him accountable. He has told us that he will pursue corruption without fear or favor. We can hold him accountable. He has told us he wants to create 1,000 agricultural entrepreneurs in 774 local government areas, and after 4 years, we can ask him, where are those 774,000 entrepreneurs? He has told us he wants to create ranches. At the end of 5 years, we can find out, at the end of 4 years, we can ask him, where are the ranches? So part of what we are here to do today, part of the reason why Sowore and all of us that are in the movement are comfortable providing these numbers, is because we want Nigerians to hold us accountable. Starting with him.
And what is absolutism? This is capitalist. This is that. There's nothing that is anything. You understand? Does it work? Those are the questions you need to ask. Besides, what is technology? We need not be afraid that it's going to take our jobs. We should ask ourselves, the simplest form or definition of technology is the state of human knowledge. In other words, as the state of human knowledge improves on the government side, also your state of mind improves, because you'll be thinking of, where do I find myself on this? And based on the leadership example that they have put down, they are telling you that they are creating a platform upon which you can plug yourself into. In other words, you are relevant in this kind of arrangement. Nobody is going to be talking over your head. They are creating a platform that will that you can find expression through. So when they say creation of jobs, it means creation of opportunities robust enough to give you comfort enough to express yourself. And that's what we've heard. I'm just translating in English. Yes, sir, let's take questions from this side.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Timmy Generale. My question goes those because I'm from the Diaspora, and I'm very particular about this question because these are never been mentioned on the campaign trail, particularly because our campaign is all about bringing new change in Nigeria. So my question is, what are the plans for the diasporans in breaking the entry barrier into Nigeria? Because many of us want to come back home. We love our country. We only went there for greener pastures. So what is the plan of the campaign in trying to bring back all Nigerians, the brain drain, the money and everything that we've taken away? Thank you.
Very good question. Thank you so much. When we were doing our research on how much Nigeria makes annually, we discovered that when the prices of oil fell a few years ago, the remittance into Nigeria was bigger than the oil received from the Nigerian government for several years. So diasporans are bringing in over $50 billion. All our tax receipts combined together is around $30-something billion. So the diaspora community is Nigeria's new oil, if not gold. But the problem is that the Nigerian government don't have any plans or respect for the diaspora community. That is why we are still even arguing about whether they can vote or not vote at this time. And by the way, if diasporans were to be allowed to vote in this election, we would have stopped campaigning a long time ago. But with regards to barrier to entry, the reason we don't have too much on what we do for diaspora is because people already accuse us as, the diaspora party. And there's some kind of tension between people at home and people who come from, because you're always acting as if you know too much, and people don't like that. And we don't want to be in their face saying or making them feel like, oh, we're better than them. But the Indian model is what we have looked at, how they brought home their doctors, their scientists. It was that they created steps by which they can come back home. And I said to you, the first step is to have a functioning airport. I'm telling you, nothing discourages you more in this country than to arrive at the airport and know that this place, I'm sorry to use the French word, is fucked up. And as we are entering, it's muggy, it's smelly, the immigration officers, customs, everybody's like trying to put hand into your pocket. The moment you get out of the place, you don't want to come back anymore. If you have the luck or bad luck for bringing your children, and they start telling you, Daddy, is this your country? Is this really your country? That one is another mental torture for you. But the other thing is also to reintegrate them in the area of housing. But if they don't have schools that they can send their children to, if they can't find hospitals they can go to if they fall sick, even for a few days, there's no diaspora that is coming back. And one thing I can tell you categorically in ending is that most diasporas who went for greener pastures are stuck with brownish pastures now. They are in a hurry to come back home. They can't wait to come back home. People in diaspora are even more desperate to have a better life. They just can't wait for Take It Back and AAC to win the election in 4 days. And we have to thank you guys very much in diaspora. We know you're watching us, and you can't wait to come back to your country. As we said to you the last time, give us a chance. We're going to prepare a home for you to return to. And that's a promise.
Thank you.
I think this, do you have anything to add? No.
They wash chemicals. Those chemicals they wash, it goes into the ground. And our water, most of the people do borehole. Nobody controls them. There's no sanitation on all these things. So they continue drinking. Gradually, after 15 years, they continue dying. Their organs started having problems. When it comes to houses, building houses, I can see that we have face me and face you. There's no hygienic. What can we do to solve all these problems? Because there are things that nobody can take cognizance to, but gradually it's killing our people. So what is your plan towards this?
I wanted to ask Dr. Malcolm to answer that question, because I want to go to the back too and do what you guys are doing.
All right, thanks. So, I'll just repeat your question. So the first one is, you have hospitals, you have places where diseases are being treated, they wash things, generate water, and it's just released into places where people living around, especially children.
Because because like the Chinese now, they are washing those things in our farmland.
And then industries, okay, and then industries and then houses. So there are two key things that I think are related to your question, and they're both policy related things. So the first one is that one of the biggest problems we have in this country is that the laws on the books are not respected. Guess what? There are actually laws that prohibit factories from releasing toxic materials to the environment? Effluent. Are those laws respected? The answer is no. Now, but there's another problem. Another problem is that if you tell me not to release effluent to the environment, then one of the things that you as the government should provide is the infrastructure, gutters, sewer systems, pipes buried under the ground, so that from each of those factories, as they flush or wash, nobody actually sees it physically. It goes into pipes, okay, and they have collection systems. So what you will notice is that in our plan, in our infrastructure plan, we have something called sewage. Sewage is different from drinking water treatment. So in most societies, you have two pipes going into every house and every factory. There's one pipe bringing clean water from a drinking water treatment plant. There's another pipe taking sewage, and sewage is all these effluents and waste. So we, in our infrastructure plan, if you go to our infrastructure plan, we actually have, I think if you go, move towards the back, there's a table, keep advancing, go back. Stop here. So you see this right here, this sewage, where we plan to have as many as almost 100,000 jobs. So this is intended to deal with that problem. So what we intend to do with these sewage treatment plants is to provide those pipes and the connection systems to make sure that hospitals are not releasing water into the streets. They are putting it into pipes that will take them to a treatment plant. That factories are doing the same thing. And then you mentioned something about housing. We want a country where there's nothing wrong with face me and face you housing. But we think every Nigerian deserves a reasonable, affordable, and comfortable home. And that is why we have a plan for housing that guarantees, so our plan is to build 17 million housing units. The housing deficit in this country, the amount of housing that is not available to make sure that each of our people is in a comfortable, decent, affordable home. There are 17 million of those units. So of the 200 million Nigerians that are here, if in each house you have about 5 people, that's about 85 million Nigerians that could move away from a face me, I face you somewhere else. What is stopping them from doing that? They don't have the funds to do so. So our plan guarantees that everybody, every Nigerian that has a job, every Nigerian that is desirous of having a home, will be able to